September 10th, 2025, Utah Valley University. A packed auditorium filled with hundreds of students and young conservatives buzzing with excitement. On stage stands Charlie Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA, podcast host, author, and one of the most recognizable faces of American conservatism. Suddenly, shots ring out, the crowd erupts in panic, and within moments, the unthinkable spreads across phones and news alerts worldwide. Charlie Kirk has been assassinated at just 32 years old. This was not just a news headline, it was a political earthquake. For his supporters, it was the silencing of a powerful voice who gave young conservatives a platform. For his critics, it was the violent end of one of America's most polarized figures. But who was Charlie Kirk? Why did he matter so much to American politics? And how will his life and death be remembered? Let's dive deep into his story, his early beginnings, his meteoric rise, the controversies that followed him everywhere, and tragic assassination, and finally, the legacy he leaves behind. Charlie Kirk was born on October 14, 1993 in Arlington Heights, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. His father was an architect and his mother a homemaker. From an early age, Kirk described himself as curious about history, politics, and American identity. Unlike many teenagers who spend time in sports or entertainment, Charlie was drawn towards political debates and conservative thinkers. A turning point came in 2012 where at 18 years old, Kirk attended the Republican National Convention. There, he connected with Bill Montgomery, a Tea Party activist. Montgomery recognized Kirk's passion and energy and recognized him to pursue activism full-time. Kirk never completed college. He briefly enrolled at Baylor University but dropped out before starting classes. Instead, he took a leap of faith, co-founding a student organization that would soon dominate American campus politics, Turning Point USA. In 2012, Kirk and Montgomery launched Turning Point USA, which is also termed as TPUSA. Their mission was simple yet ambitious: to mobilize conservative students and challenge liberal dominance on college campuses. At first, TPUSA was just a scrappy student group handing out flyers and organizing small events. But Kirk was a relentless promoter. He crisscrossed campuses, speaking to students, debating professors, and raising funds. By 2014, TPUSA had gained national attention, especially for its Professor Watch List, a controversial initiative that named professors accused of pushing left-wing bias in classrooms. Critics called it harassment. Kirk defended it as transparency in education. Under Kirk's leadership, TPUSA ballooned into one of the largest conservative youth organizations in the country. It organized flashy events like the Student Action Summit, drawing thousands of attendees and featuring big-name speakers such as Donald Trump Jr., Ted Cruz, and Tucker Carlson. The group also expanded into offshoots like Turning Point Action, a political arm focusing on campaigns; Turning Point Faith, integrating religious conservatism; Turning Point Academy, targeting younger students. What started as a small student initiative had, by the late 2010s, became a multi-million-dollar organization with chapters in hundreds of colleges nationwide. Kirk's rise was closely tied to the success of Donald Trump. During the 2016 campaign, TPUSA worked aggressively to mobilize young voters for Trump. Kirk's frequent appearances on Fox News and conservative media made him one of the most recognizable young voices of the MAGA era. He became a close ally of the Trump family, often seen alongside Donald Trump Jr. and Jared Kushner. Trump himself publicly praised Kirk as one of the brightest leaders of his generation. By 2020, Kirk and TPUSA were widely credited with boosting young turnout for Trump. Even after Trump left office in 2021, Kirk continued to defend him fiercely and framed himself as a protector of America First values. This cemented his position as not just a student activist, but a national conservative influencer. Beyond campus activism, Kirk became a powerful voice in conservative media. His podcast, The Charlie Kirk Show, became one of the top political podcasts in the US. He regularly hosted a talk radio program syndicated nationwide. He amassed millions of followers across social media platforms, using quick clips and viral sound bites to spread his message. He authored books like Time for a Turning Point 2016 and MAGA Doctrine in 2020. Kirk's tone was direct, sometimes confrontational, and always unapologetically conservative. He became a go-to figure for the culture wars, focusing on issues like free speech, religion, race, gender, identity, and gun rights. His critics accused him of spreading misinformation and promoting division, but his supporters saw him as a courageous truth teller willing to say what others wouldn't. No story of Charlie Kirk is complete without addressing the controversies that surrounded him. Professor Professor Watch list in 2016 accused him of endangering professors by publicly naming them for liberal bias, gun control, and abortion. Kirk was a staunch Second Amendment supporter and pro-life advocate, sparking heated debates at campus events. LGBTQ rights. His opposition to same-sex marriage and transgender policies drew strong backlash from progressive groups. Christian nationalism. Kirk often blended faith with politics, arguing that America's survival depended on Christian values. To some, he was a defender of free speech, to others, a demagogue fueling division. But even his harshest critics acknowledged one fact: Charlie Kirk knew how to capture attention. Whether you agreed or disagreed, you couldn't ignore him. Away from the spotlight, Kirk's life was more traditional. In 2022, he married Erica France, a former Miss USA winner. Together, they had 2 children. Kirk often highlighted his family in speeches, positioning himself as a defender of faith, marriage, and family values. His family appearances made him relatable to conservatives who saw him not just as an activist but as a role model. Then came the day that shocked the world. On September 10, 2025, Kirk was scheduled to speak at Utah Valley University at a Turning Point USA event. The auditorium was filled with students, faculty, and media. Witnesses described the atmosphere as electric, with Kirk engaging the crowd in his usual energetic style. But midway through the event, gunshots rang out. Panic erupted. Students screamed, security rushed to the stage, and chaos overtook the auditorium. Kirk was struck multiple times. Despite immediate medical attention, he was pronounced dead shortly after. News outlets worldwide broke the story within minutes. Charlie Kirk, conservative activist and TPUSA founder, assassinated at 32. The shooter was taken into custody, but the investigation into motive and background is still unfolding. The assassination drew swift and emotional reactions. Donald Trump called it a dark day for America and the conservative movement. Republican leaders praised Kirk as a patriot who had given young people a voice. Democrats and progressives, even those who strongly opposed him, condemned the violence and called it a dangerous attack on political discourse. Social media erupted with both grief and debate, reflecting how divisive Kirk's legacy had become. In vigils across the country, young conservatives mourned the man who had inspired them to get involved in politics. Meanwhile, analysts debated what his assassination meant for the future of political activism in America. So, how will Charlie Kirk be remembered? As an organizer, he built TPUSA into a massive political force, leaving behind a network of organizations that will likely continue shaping conservative youth for decades. As a media figure, he mastered the art of viral politics, turning podcasts, tweets, and campus clips into national talking points. As a polarizer, his legacy is inseparable from controversy. Admired by conservatives, despised by progressives. As a symbol, his assassination transformed him from political activist into a symbol of the intense polarization dangers facing American politics today. Kirk's story is both a lesson in the power of youth activism and a warning about the growing violence in political life. Charlie Kirk was more than just a conservative activist. He was a builder, a fighter, a provocator, and for millions, an inspiration. His tragic assassination at 32 silenced his voice, but his influence continues through the organizations, debates, and divisions he helped shape. This is your Mr. Lens, bringing you the full story behind the headlines. If you found this deep dive insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more detailed breakdowns of the events shaping our world. Thank you.